most important piece of equipment in a commercial kitchen is the hood. The hood does several things. The first thing it does, it draws heat out of the space. Imagine all this equipment is on and all this heat is rising and it needs to go somewhere. So the hood captures it and brings it up a shaft and it's pulled by a fan to the outside. The other thing it does, it brings grease away from the rest of the space. So if you did not have a hood and you're here sauteing or frying or grilling, what happens is we get hot grease and it'll just build up and go all over the space, and pretty soon the kitchen will just be filthy. And then the last important aspect of a hood is that this is where we put our fire suppression system in, which are these pipes that are hanging down. Some of you might refer to these as Ansel systems, Ansel being a manufacturer. But this is a fire suppression system. The way it works is once our temperature gets up to a certain point at this level, this knob will explode and the entire Ansel system or fire suppression system will release and cover all this equipment with a very fine powder. It puts the fire out. Once you do that, you're shut down. You have to have professionals come in, you have to get the place cleaned up, you need to recharge the system, and then you have to have the fire marshal come in to certify that you're good to go. You're talking about a week's process. It could be thousands, tens of thousands of dollars in lost business. So it's very important that we don't mess with these. So we are now going to clean this space, but we're going to avoid touching this. Now there is another element to the hood, and these are grease interceptors. And these are put in up here where the air is drawn up from the equipment. It's just heavy duty stainless steel. Some of them are more wide, some are smaller, some even have little filter systems in it. Depends on the design. My recommendation on these is to get these into a bus tub, bring them to the dish room and run them through. And it's also important that you let them air dry before you put them back in. So this is the type of job that should be done either when you're closed or at the end of the shift or first thing in the morning sometimes. It really depends on when the equipment is being used. You don't want this to be hot equipment that you're standing on and getting on top of. I really want to caution you on that. Please don't use this when it's hot to stand on and get up here to clean. Make sure all this equipment has been shut off and it's been cooled down. Another tip that I'll give you, sometimes it's good to put sheet pans upside down across all this equipment, because if anything comes falling down, it'll at least go on the sheet pan, and those are easy enough to clean off rather than having to go in and clean this equipment. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to remove all of our grease filters, and now we're gonna come in and we're gonna actually clean the hood, and we're just gonna use an all-purpose degreaser with a nice clean rags and go through this whole piece of equipment inside and the outside and wipe it all down. So notice the chemicals being sprayed into the towel. We don't want a lot of chemical flying around. We also want to make sure that the hood is off at this point. We don't want the fans on, which is going to draw the spray up into the cleaner's face. I also want to point out that he is wearing gloves, and he's also wearing eye protection, which is very important. Again, this is potentially a dangerous area. It can be hot, there's chemicals, there's grease, so we want to protect ourselves the best we can. He's also wearing a full apron and fully covered shoes.